Hey, let's go. Get in here. Get in here right now. Get in here. Hey, we got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives. 30 minutes for the rest of our lives. That's our bet on the first half. It ain't happening. We get the ball. I promise you one thing. We're going to hit somebody and we're taking downfield for a touchdown. I guarantee you that.
Guarantee.
Look at me. Look at me. Let's go. We got 30 minutes.
Let's go.
For the rest of our lives. Let's go.
Let's go.
Lock on. Hey. Lock on. Lock on. Hey. Put the horn on.
And welcome everybody to another episode of DC Sports Daily. This is your host Corey Desson alongside my buddy Jack Maestri. Yet again another day here in the nation's capital. We got a couple of things to go over, mainly Su'a Cravens, Redskins talk, maybe Nats talk. Don't really know how this show is going to go, but a good filled weekend of awesome sports. Shout out to the best football game maybe ever. Besides the 35-point deficit comeback. But Josh Rosen, please come to the Redskins.
Wait. What was the best football game ever besides the 35-point comeback? What was the other?
It was 34-point deficit comeback.
Okay.
There was one other 35-point. I don't know what it was.
I hear what you're saying.
I don't remember what it was.
I got you.
But it was pretty epic. I know everybody wanted to watch the West Virginia Tech game. And then you turn over and I turned to you and said, why is this even a nationally televised game, and why is it on Sunday? And then all of a sudden I go, I understand why it is, because this is an epic game.
It was crazy. I mean, 44-10
that's
in the third quarter.
The guy was never shook.
No.
Never phased.
It
looks stellar in the pocket. I don't know if his receivers are that good there, but he sure makes them look good. And I know he's already touted as number one, I think, on many draft boards as a quarterback. So, welcome to the Cleveland Browns, Josh Rosen.
Yeah, for real. That was crazy. The one throw that he made
to win it.
Was that the throw to win it?
The fade?
No, not the fade. The one that he made the series before to tie it, where he was like scrambling.
And just tossed it up.
Yeah, and just tossed it up, and his receiver made a ridiculous play on it.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and dive into, I guess, Su'a Cravens.
Yeah. So that has been the number one story going around DC Sports Radio right now. That's what the hot topic is.
Everybody has a take on it.
DC Sports Twitter is all over it. Well, just because it's such a weird...
Not just DC, honestly.
Yeah, it's a weird situation. Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, Su'a Cravens, our second-round draft pick last year, decided to retire.
Well,
he's trying to retire. He wants to retire. He's had some concussion issues. He has a knee injury right now, I guess. And I guess there's some stuff going on with his family. And he made the team, then went in and told the front office that he was ready to retire. They talked him out of it, placed him on the non-football exempt list, and he will be gone. The initial report said he'll definitely be out for a month. So,
I don't know. It's kind of complicated. I don't really know a whole. I mean, I've read obviously every article possible, but before we get into this, the video that was posted about him at training camp saying he wasn't even into it. It just shows so much. I understand training camp's a grind. And a lot of players, I'm sure, just go through the motions just to get over it. But him sitting there talking to Will Compton how he doesn't even want to play, and then this comes out, it's kind of mind-blowing. And then another point is, what a draft we had. Josh Doxson's never seen the field. First round pick. Su'a Cravens, one big play, and now he wants to retire.
Yeah. But I'm not too upset about that. They were both very good picks.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, with the Su'a Cravens thing, I guess my question is just: is this really? Is this him actually needing to take care of himself and his family?
Right.
Or is this... I was listening to... I can't remember the name of the weekend guy, like the Travis Scott experience.
Travis Johnson, I think.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Tyler. Tyler.
It's definitely whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But one of 6'7" guys.
Understood.
And he was saying that he thinks that Su'a is just a West Coast guy, and because he was always saying like, oh, stuck over here on the East Coast on social media and stuff. Then maybe he just wants to go home. Maybe he just doesn't like the East Coast. I think that's a little bit of a stretch, but I could definitely see him like not wanting to be in DC.
Don't blame anybody.
Yeah,
especially when it comes to DC sports.
And I understand protecting yourself.
Well, speaking of that, the whole issue of CTE. I know. Hold on. You want to go further into
talk a little
Su'a.
bit more about Su'a.
It blows my mind though. Like he's
it is
plenty of money.
Yeah,
he can live off of it for quite some time.
I don't know what his signing bonus was, but
as a second round draft pick, it's a
I don't know
decent amount.
I don't know what the guaranteed money there is. I mean, it's probably not a lot by NFL standards, but by normal people's standards,
you can live off.
Yeah, it's like 15 years worth of work. Yeah. But so personally, I tweeted this out earlier today.
From DC Sports Daily P1.
Yeah, on Twitter at DC Sports Daily P1. My take on this, I don't really care. He brought a certain level of energy, but that's really all that he brought. He could fill a gap, and he was able to. He was a good run stopper, but he was always more of a linebacker at heart than a safety. And honestly, DeShazor, Everett, and Stephon McClure, I think, are much better
options.
Yeah, at safety. They're much better suited to play the position. They're much better at what the position is supposed to be. I know he was a second round pick, and I know that he was very highly touted coming out of USC. But and you wish that you don't want to waste a second round pick. But I think in terms of output, McClure and Everett are going to be fine. And don't forget, fingers crossed, week 6, D'Angelo Hall's coming back with a vengeance. You know it. He's going to come back. No more ordering pizza. No more tearing his Achilles, getting pizza boxes delivered. Nothing like that. D'Angelo Hall is coming back with a vengeance. Excuse me. And he's going to play safety.
I don't know about that. But, I mean, as far as the situation goes, I don't think it matters as much on a football field. But to me, man-to-man, I hope he's okay. Obviously, not necessarily just because he's a second-round draft pick, but you don't want to see guys come into a league and care about football, and then all of a sudden it just gets taken from him for various reasons, whether it's his family, whether it's him, or whether it's just the concussion issue. I want to see him turn out. I want to see him come back and be okay and be the ball hawk that he was at USC, because that's what he really was. And yes, he likes to hit. He's a run stopper. But I think he's going to turn out, if he does come back, he'll have a month off, clear his mind, come back as a darn good football player for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my issue with that.
What's your issue with that?
So when he announced, quote unquote, his retirement, I saw a piece that he did it in a group chat with a bunch of players on the team.
That's unbelievable. Peace out.
Yeah. And ended it with peace out.
Yeah. Childish.
Like, come on.
Yeah, that pissed me off too.
These are supposed to be
professionals.
Yeah. Like, no matter what. It is fine. If you need to quit, you need to take care of yourself, your family, you just say that. But you do it while showing respect and dignity to all those people around you.
Your job.
Yeah, you are. I mean, I know it's football, but at the end of the day, you are a part of a team, and that team could be anything. I mean, you have a job to do, and it's expected of you to do it.
Yeah.
And if for whatever reason you can't, that is okay. But if an executive had to leave a company,
Nobody's going to say peace
he
out.
wouldn't text his the board members and say, "Oh, gotta go take care of me. Peace out."
Right.
You know, and he's 22 years old. I get that,
Not
but
mature.
it's just there's a way to handle these things.
Well, when I first saw that, I was talking to Brady, and we both agreed that it was because the Redskins moved him to linebacker, and he's like sort of a prima donna. And when he got moved to linebacker, he was like, all right, I don't like this organization anymore. I want to play safety, and it's my way or the highway. I don't think it's probably that. But when you see a text message or an article like that saying that's what the text messages were for, kind of makes you think twice. It kind of makes you feel that that's exactly what this is. Because he didn't get his way out of college.
Yeah, and then did you see what he said on Snapchat?
No, I didn't see that part.
So he sent out a big a Snapchat post where he basically said you're either gonna love me or hate me, but I'm tired of reading all these comments and stuff, but it's not gonna faze me. I'm doing what I need to do for me and my family, and that shouldn't be looked down upon. And y'all now that I don't have anything holding me back, you guys are going to get to know me a lot better. You're going to know the real me. There's not going to be anything fake, because I guess he's, not accountable to the NFL right now, and he can reveal personal information. But the funny thing is, after saying that, he went on to say absolutely nothing in the post, that would actually give us any insight. He just said, you're either going to love me or hate me, and there's going to be zero gray area, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Which, it makes no sense, honestly.
The whole situation confuses me.
I can tell him that he's wrong. I am in that gray area where I do love him and kind of hate him right now.
Yeah, and second of all, how did our front office find a way to talk him out of it? Because our front office never does anything right.
I'm sure Dan Snyder just stroked him a check.
You want some cash real quick? Here. Just go take a break for a month. We get month-long vations, even though we just had an off-season. And you're still making millions. Cool. Sounds good. I think I would take that too. No, just kidding.
But let's go back now and just touch on the CTE thing, because I know you had some stats on that. And
you touched on it last episode, actually, which I completely forgot about.
I did indeed.
It's just, if it comes down to him coming out and saying it's because I'm scared for more brain injuries, 100%, I back that, especially with all these players. Your brain's a lot more important than a sport. At the end of the day, it's a game. It is your lifeline. It is your business. It's your job, but it's a game. And I know everybody saw that article on New York Times and Washington Post about CTE in July. And they did that study, examined brains of 202 deceased football players. Out of the 202 players, 111 of them played in the NFL. 110 of them had CTE. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, I will say that study. This is where you get into the nitty gritty of how studies are done. I'm not discounting the fact that CTE is a real threat and that it's something that we need to look out for, and protect our players from. But
I feel like everyone can have CTE, and
you can,
because there's symptoms is like dementia.
Yeah,
a lot of people have dementia.
This is like it's like when Dan Snyder polled all the Native Americans, and he was like, "Oh, well, 9 out of 10 Native Americans actually support the name."
Yeah, right.
It has a lot to do with the selection bias, and obviously they were in a accredited poll. There's newspapers that was published in. They're going to try to minimize the amount of errors there are, but in any study like that, the sample size is always in question.
Well, the NFL
because
also
I don't
fought
think
back to that.
Yeah, I don't think 99.9% of players in the NFL have CTE or will have CTE, but I do think it is at a level that is a significant threat to NFL players'
itself.
health and the future of the NFL.
Yeah. And you actually touched on the lineman last one. 44 of the 110 during that study were the ones with CTE, so it's not even really the position players. Running backs are the second in that study with 20, but after that, it's like linebackers who do all the hitting, but it's not quarterbacks and wide receivers. It's not safeties. It's not tight ends. However, speaking of tight ends, going with the Su'a